Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Autumn Embers and welcome to me building a haunted funfair. So I started building this because when I was trying to find some music for my autumn lake house, I was trying to find some music that was a bit more autumnal like, perhaps slightly different to the normal music that I would normally put to my builds at the very end when looking through the screenshots. And as I was looking for some autumnal music to go with the build, I then discovered the haunted or Halloween music that I downloaded last year for Halloween, for my Halloween builds. And I discovered some music that I didn't think I used last year because the builds that I was building didn't suit it. But I found it, I refound it this year and I really liked it and I really wanted to use it, and when I was listening to it, it conjured up of pictures of a funfair, perhaps slightly possessed funfair, because it's now sounding like Doolally Land. You're sort of like rocking back and forth, you're slightly possessed, you have white eyeballs that has like swirls in them, you're sort of like and I really liked it and I really wanted to use it, and I thought, oh, funfair, yay! I never built a funfair before and it'd be really cool to build. I mean, I can even build a carousel, yeah! But then it also reminded me to the fact that I won't be going to a funfair this year because of you know what. And a funfair normally occurs or appears when we go to a bonfire night or fireworks night or Guy Fawkes night. It's the same thing. It has different names, but it's the same thing. And normally there would be a bonfire. There would then be fireworks going off to music. Last year it was fireworks going off to Disney music. I had to restrain myself to sing along to the Disney music because I just want to belt it out, but I was like, no, I'm around other people that I don't know. Yes, I'm with my family, but you know, there's other people and their families around me. I'm not singing Disney in front of them. But there's also a funfair attached to these places, because normally in the past we have been able to set off fireworks in our garden, but recently we haven't been able to, and so we go to parks to see these fireworks. And you may be thinking, why did you start doing that? Why don't you just do it this year? I mean, you can still have fireworks, it'll be fine. No, we can't. The reason why we started to go to the parks display is because our trees in our garden are huge. They are the size of a house and then some. They spread across our neighbours' gardens and litter their garden with leaves. Like, ha ha ha, you get leaves too. And we could direct the firework in a different direction, but we did that once and we had a rogue firework where it went, nah, I don't fancy that, I fancy going off in a different direction. And it did that, it went off in a different direction, in the direction of the house and the place where me, my mum and my sister were standing, and it finally directed off into a different direction. But we both felt like, whoo, okay, that was a little bit too close to comfort and we're not doing it again. So that's why we now go to the park displays. But like I said, it's not happening because of you know what. And the other reason why we can't have it at home is because of our plastic grass. And so that's a no-no. And so what do we do? I love fireworks night. The clue's in my name. I have autumn because I love the season, and then I have embers because it is the little pretty bits that come off the bonfire or the fire that you may have in your fireplace. And it won't be happening this year. I mean, we could recreate it. We could have a barbecue, we could fry some onions. You gotta have some fried onions, because when I smell frying onions I immediately think bonfire night. And we could have some popcorn. Traditionally there would be candy floss, but we don't have a candy floss machine. Should have bought one just before Toys R Us went down the pan, but we don't. So we could buy popcorn. We could barbecue or like burgers and sausages, because that's the type of food that gets served at fun fairs. but it's not gonna happen this year. And so when I was building it, I was having fun building it because it's not a thing that I would normally typically build. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna visit one this year. Stupid bloody thing, I hate you. That kind of thing. It was kind of sad. I had fun, like I said, building this because it's not something I would traditionally build. I do know how to go about some bits and pieces, like the roofing to a carousel, because if you've seen a carousel, it has a stripy roof. I was like, how do I do that in The Sims 4? I mean, I've got my head around like the rest of the carousel, but the roofing, I can't just do a single block colour roof, because otherwise it won't be a carousel. It'll just be columns with toys going right through the columns and lights and stuff like that. It wouldn't be a carousel, it would just be a thing. And so I was like, I have to know, how do you do a multi-toned stripy roof in The Sims 4? I mean, there's gotta be a way. There must have been other people before me to build a carousel / Funfair carnival. So I went to the gallery to find out what was there. I then found some great builds. There were some builds that were made with the tool mod, and I have said once before in one of my videos, I think it was the Spark Wedding Challenge wedding venue, that I said I wanted to go ahead and download the tool mod. I still want to do that. But for this build, I was tempted after seeing what you can do with it, and the detail for some of these builds using the tool mod was like, oh, wowza, lordy body, that's a lot of detail. Okay, but at the same time, I knew that this build would have a lot of different smaller elements that would have their own like detail that they would need, and would need like a lot of detail for what I want them to look like, and it would just be too much, especially when you throw into the mix of trying to learn and how to use a mod that you've never used before, / the anxiety of downloading your first ever mod. And I was like, that's just too much for me. No. I'm building something for the first time that I would never build before. I'm learning how to do this funky looking roof, and I'm learning how to build a circus tent or a carousel or a shy coconut stool thing where you throw a ball and try and knock down all the coconuts. But we don't have coconuts, so I use 10 pins, the pins you knock down. And so I thought, yeah, let's not do that, shall we? Let's just go and have a look at the other ones that perhaps weren't made by the tool mod. And again, they were brilliant. I was like, oh, we can make that. Oh, from the stuff that we had in the game. Really? Okay. And so I looked at theirs, got some inspiration. I then sort of took apart their build carefully just to see how their things were made and how they made them, because the carousel roofing and the circus roofing is basically made from an onion top and a curvy octagon. You mush them together and you get like a stripy roofing look, and it's brilliant. And yeah, I then carefully put it back together, and then I deleted it and went, right, I'm ready, I know what I'm doing. I did a little bit more experimenting on like different lots, but I was like, right, I'm ready to go, let's do this. And I knew I really wanted a maze for my Funfair. Now typically there's probably like a mirror maze, not a hedge maze, but I didn't want to do a mirror maze because I already done like a mirror maze type thing last year for my Funfair house, but where the middle bit was kind of like a mirror maze. I was like, I don't want to do that, I want to do a hedge maze. And I thought it would be like a really fun idea if the inner part of the maze is the place where your Sims actually live in. And so we have a haunted house, so we're combining the haunted house as an actual place for your Sims to live in, and I thought that would be a really cool idea to actually put it within the maze, because some mazes, there are mazes out there where there is an inner bit to the maze, so it could be like a watchtower where you help your other mates who hasn't got quite to the middle here, like tell them where to go so they can join you in the watchtower, and then you can slide down and then you're out of the maze. Or they have like a or they reward you with a little bit of information and learning so you can read once you're in the middle of the maze. For example, the maze at Hampton Court, I believe when you get to the middle of their maze, they tell you all about the maze and why the hedge is so old and all that jazz. So you get rewarded with information and knowledge and learning. And some mazes, they also reward you with a cave. So this maze that I went to that had the cave, it was wonderful because recently, we haven't been doing this, but like a couple of years back, my sister and I would normally go on holiday somewhere in the UK. We'll just pick somewhere in the UK and we'll go there for like a little short holiday for like 2 days or something like that. And normally we would split it in half for like payments. So my sister would pay for like the accommodation and the car that we would need to get from A to B, and then I would pay for the attractions. And so I paid for the attraction for a castle. I'm using air quotation marks there because it wasn't a castle. I mean, I do remember reading saying that they had a little bit of a problem because the castle got damaged within like floodings and like a fire like broke out in there. And so the owners of it just thought, oh no, let's just rip it all out and start again and make it into what I think a castle should look like, which was wrong. You shouldn't do that. You should like reconstruct it into what it was formerly, because what you're saying is a castle. It's not a castle. It's nothing like a castle. But they had a maze, and within their maze they had a cave right in the middle of the maze, and it was perfect because when we went to this non-castle that was pretending to be a castle, but it wasn't a castle because they ripped it all out. But it still had the UK heritage thing. I was so confused. But like, why do you have this? It's not a castle. Stop it. So yeah. Anyways, we went to this castle that wasn't a castle. Stop it. And it had a maze. And it was a really hot day. I wasn't really like clothes appropriate for that day. I was wearing black jeans with a black with a black, what's it called? Black blazer. And yeah, I wasn't dressed for the weather. I wasn't anticipating it'd be so hot. And this cave was amazing because the cave was so cool and just cold. I was like, oh, can we stay here, please? It's so lovely and cool in this lovely cave. There was also a little like waterfall trickle going into some sort of water thing that they had. It was brilliant and it was just so cool. But no, we had to leave the cave. Couldn't stay in the cave. We then got some ice creams. We also watched a bird show where they like have a big bird, like a hawk type thing, and they call it and they sit on your arm. We watched that whilst having some ice cream, and then we just sat underneath a tree whilst my sister was waiting for an important call, and we were sitting in front of a river with a boat, and it was lovely. And so yeah, that was my favourite maze because we have a lovely cool cave. For this maze, I thought it would be a good idea to put in the haunted house that would also double up as a house, an actual house for your Sims to live in, because then this lot will then have a use. It won't just be a pretty thing, go, oh, that's pretty. Let's move on. It'll now have a function and a purpose and a use, and so does the maze now. The maze now have a function and use because you got to go through the maze to get to the haunted house. And yeah, it just works nicely. They're now best friends, the haunted house / the maze, because they all work together because they now all have a purpose. And it gives me a reason and like a place to put the haunted house. Because then I'll be able to always go, I want to have a circus tent, I want to have a shy coconut thingamajiggy, even though I'm not too sure what it is, but I want it. But where do I put this haunted house? Now I have a place because the maze now has a spot for it. So it's perfect. So I really like the layout. When I first built the house, I had to make the maze itself slightly bigger, just by one, all the way around. It took me some time to do, so I cut it out because you didn't need to see that. And as I built the shells, this is actually quite big. But Then, as I was putting in the like hallway, the stairs, and like the fireplaces for this house, I then quickly realised actually it's actually quite small and pokey, and I'm not gonna fit much in here actually. And so I actually really like the layout, because for most of the levels, we have 2 rooms apart from the upper level where like the attic is, as it were, because in that level we have 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, so I managed to fit in 3 rooms. But for the majority of this house, it's basically 2 rooms on the floors, and that's it. And I really like that, because it feels a bit more pokey, feels a bit more smaller, it feels a bit more higgledy-piggledy, and I think all of that is perfect for a haunted house, you know? Haunted houses are perfect for older properties that are smaller, higgledy-piggledy, and a bit crumbly and all over the place and just don't quite make sense due to their layout. So I like that, and I think it's perfect for this house. And I really wanted this house, despite the size, I really wanted to have like a really big, grand hallway. Don't know why, I just wanted one for this house. I really want one. I want like a really fancy looking staircase, as fancy as we can get it in The Sims 4. And I really want a big, massive fireplace. And I want like fancy wallpaper, and I want lots of pictures all over the wall, and I managed to get that. I also wanted a big chandelier going through 2 floors, as it were, lighting up both of them, and I got that. Despite the small size of this place, I got like a hole in my hallway slash a what's it called? It begins with an M. I don't know. Mandarin? No, that's not it. Oh, I don't know. It has a lovely word to it. I'm just going to call it a hole in the floor. Mezzanine. Got a mezzanine floor here. Yeah, got a hole in our floor to allow for our lovely chandelier to come through. So we got that, so I was really happy that I was able to put that in despite the smallness of this house. I was also really happy that I managed to get in like a little library study area. As you can see, I have split up the study area with another smaller bookshelf. I just wanted like another little separate area where I can imagine an older gentleman wearing a very plush, fancy, maroon looking, fluffy looking robe. It has a lovely black detailing to it. You would wander around in it, your very fancy slippers, and you would sit there in your lovely pin cushion seat, which is made out of leather, with your fire going, it's crackling, and you're holding a tumbler that is sort of carved crystal like stuff, something really fancy that your parents would have. You're like, don't touch it, as a kid, and they would murder you if you did touch or break it. But they have one of them in their hands that then have like whiskey on the rocks in there, so it's like ice in here, and they're sitting there with their fancy drink and their fancy plush robe, sitting and reading in their fancy leather pincushion chair type thingy, and they're reading a really old book which should typically be reading with white gloves, but they're too fancy and posh for that. They don't care, they're just reading it without their gloves, and they're putting all their dirty little mitts all over it, and they're reading it, and then they hear a spooky noise and they go, oh, it's fine, I'm living in an older house, older houses make these type of noises, it's fine, I'm just gonna keep reading this old book which I should be wearing white gloves, but I'm not, because I'm posh. Ooh, I'm posh and fancy. And then hear another noise like, oh my god, what is that? Oh, for God's sake, I'll just go and check out this weird noise. And then the next thing they know, they get jumped by a ghost that comes out of nowhere, and they get pushed over the balcony through the hole in the floor, which is called a mezzanine type thing. And next thing they know, they're plummeting to the floor and they're dead on the floor, and the ghost just goes away. And this guy only gets to go like weeks after they're dead, because he was a posh older guy who was a little bit miserable and that no one really liked, and he's a bit old looking, and he well, he's a bit decompromised, he's not looking quite human, and he's kind of stinky, because, he's been there for a while, and yeah, that's what I'm imagining in that room, and that's why I separated it, for that reason. Okay, so moving on to, where am I? I'm spinning about all over the place. Oh yeah, because I thought I did the interior to this so quickly, I think I can afford some time to show you me plonking down some paintings in this very old house, because old houses have paintings, and I really wanted this place to have a 4-poster bed, and I thought the master bedroom can't have it, because yes, it is a nice sized room for the size of the house, it's pretty decent, but a 4-poster bed for the size of the room will be a little bit too much, and so I decided to go for a 4-poster single bed in the kids' bedroom, and I found the perfect colour swatch for it, and I found the what's it called, the cats and dog wallpaper. I thought that would be perfect for it. Put some cracks and cobwebs on the walls. Because I wanted the Funfair and the house to be somewhat dilapidated, somewhat not very cared for. They don't really care for the house, somewhat older, it's kind of falling apart. It's on its way out, perhaps it is abandoned, and then the Sims just found it, went, oh, isn't this nice? Let's live here, shall we? So I thought that could be a good idea. I also thought this could be an interesting place to live. It could bring up some good storylines, I don't know what those storylines could be, because I'm not a storyteller, because I am a builder. But yeah, this could be a good lot to have some storytelling going, or something a little bit different, something a little bit new. Ooh, something. Oh, that pop out there where the door is, where it just leads to nowhere, there's no balcony. It's supposed to look like that. No, I didn't load in the game, and the game just decided, oh, I'm going to take away your balcony. I'm just going to take away your stairs, or your pictures, or your lamp for some reason, and you just suddenly realise just before taking your screenshots, or during the screenshots, that the game has taken it away. No, that hasn't happened. It's meant to look like that. It's meant to just have a random door going to nowhere. It's meant to look like that, because I thought it looked more random and weird and confusing as to why a build would have that, and I thought that was perfect for like a haunted house that's set within a maze, set within a funfair. It felt like it just felt right. Also took some inspiration from the Winchester house that's in America, because I think that place also has a door leading to nowhere, and if you step out onto it, you may, end up on the ground somehow. So I thought that was perfect. Just here I'm doing the tent. So I had two options. Do I go for the classic yellow and red stripes, or do I go for the red and white stripes? I went for the classic yellow and red stripes because we already have a carousel that it is having the red and white stripes, and so I thought having a circus tent that is also red and white striped, it would just be too much, and so I went for the classic yellow and red, just to break it up a little bit. And now you see this tent and go, oh, that's a circus tent. I know what that is, without having a little sign that says circus tent on it. So here I am building a little graveyard. I can see that the people that would go here, if you've got like a storyline where people do go here, I can see that people that would go here go, oh, look at that, there's a little funny phony graveyard, because they have little funny graveyard lights, and then they've mixed up the little funny phony graveyard lights with the more realistic gravestone, and it's not a phony one at all. It's not a phony graveyard, it's a real graveyard in my head, because those realistic gravestones are real gravestones, and the best place to hide a real graveyard and a real gravestone is in a real one. Hide it in plain sight. That is the best place to hide things. It's in plain sight. It's risky because it could stand like a sore thumb, but if it goes well, people won't see it, you know? So here I am doing a pumpkin patch because I really wanted to include a pumpkin patch because when I was building this, I was going to go to pick your own pumpkin farm, or just like pick your own farm. And as I'm talking to you, I have now been there because it was last Saturday and we went there. You could pick your own onions, apples, carrots. We even found a rogue parsnip within the carrots. Like, what are you doing here, parsnip? We didn't even know it was a parsnip at first. My dad said it could be like a root, and then I remembered, hey, isn't arsenic a root, you know? I was like, could it be that? But no, we sniffed it. We sniffed this white thing. We then discovered it was a parsnip. It's okay. It's nothing to be worried about. Bit confused as to why we found a parsnip in the carrot patch. We all thought because the parsnip wants to be a carrot, it doesn't see itself as a parsnip, and we're saying parsnip this, parsnip that, and there's parsnip that was like, what are you saying parsnip? I don't understand parsnip. Why are you saying parsnip to me? I'm not a parsnip, I'm a carrot, because I was planting the carrot farm. So we found a parsnip in the carrot patch. We also we went to the bit where we could peel our own corn. We went to the cornfield. I really liked that because it was very immersive. Because I think they only had like 10 rows deep, and even then it was still like really dense. And I can imagine as to why they now make mazes out of cornfields, because you can't see where you're going. And so I really liked that. We could also pick our own pumpkin, so that's what we did. I know the pumpkin's not gonna last till Halloween. It's gonna go dry and gummy looking. But that's fine, we can just buy another pumpkin. It won't be from a natural pumpkin farm. And the pumpkin that we did pick was slightly more orange than the pumpkin that you would get from like a supermarket. It was slightly more orangier, because the pumpkins that you get from the supermarket are more brighter orange, whereas the pumpkin that we got was deeper orange. I liked it. So yeah, we carved our pumpkin. It has a slightly goofier looking face to it. Normally for these pumpkins that don't quite last till Halloween, I normally like carve something more intricate, like a skull or the Oogie Boogie Man. But I thought for this one, it's been a while, I want to carve something more goofy. And so that's what I did. So here in the circus tent, I've never been inside a circus tent before. I mean, I've seen them on the telly, I've seen them on Google, but I've never seen the inside of a circus tent with my own eyeballs. So typically for a circus tent, for the inside of a circus tent, there would be like an inner bit of the circle, then the outer bit of the circle. And the outer bit of the circle will be made up of the seats for the audience, and then the inner bit of the circle would be the bit where the performance would take place. I thought this tent is a little bit too small for that. It would just be a little bit too cramped, and so I went for a bit more of a theatre setup. So we have the stage at the back of the tent, as it were, and then we have the benches, or the chaise lounge, as I've done here. I thought it felt right. The stage lounge was about the right height for what I was looking for. I did try out a sofa. It was a little bit too chunky, a little bit too high, so I went for what I had. And you can see the stage that I've got. I got that from the debug section. It says it is a debug item. I believe they will just walk right through it. So that's a bit of a pain, but I wanted the stage to be slightly higher to where the audience was sitting, and the only other way that I could have done that was to raise the entire tent onto a platform, onto a foundation, drawn a wall, and then deleted the flooring as to where the audience would be sitting, so they're now sitting on the grass. And it would have been a bit too messy, because then we need lots of stairs. These stairs would just take up too much space. I didn't have a lot of space to begin with, and it would just be even smaller, so I got rid of that. I didn't want to do that idea at all, so I used the other bits and pieces that we got from debug that has been recently added into the debug section. So I use them, so just be careful. Sims might walk right through it. You can draw a fence underneath to stop them from doing that. I didn't do that, I just forgot about it. I'm sorry, it should be fine. But the entire tent is basically just a decoration bit, but I wanted a circus tent, so I built a circus tent, so there we go. So now I am building the little stools area. You gotta have stools for Funfair. You can't have a Funfair without stools. What is it though? So for the stools I went for, it's called Shy Coconut. It's such a weird name. Why is it called Shy Coconut? Because this Shy Coconut game is the game where there are coconuts lined up at the back. You got some balls, you're trying to throw them at the coconuts, and you're trying to knock all the coconuts off the little holder that they're standing on. And if you get them all knocked down, you get to win a little prize. And so that's what I tried to do here, because I thought that was the best one to recreate in The Sims 4 easily. We don't have coconuts in the game, so I used the little bowling pins and just lined them up in their little triangle, sized up. No, I didn't size up. No, I just raised up these toys and then stuck a little pole through their head to make it look like they're hanging, they're waiting for someone to win them and go, "It's so fluffy!" from the Despicable Me, like that. And I realised with the little balls for the from like cats and dogs for your like a pet to play with, you can't rotate them. I noticed that when I was trying to size one up for the ball in the circus tent and I was trying to rotate it, I noticed it just flies up in the air like a little whirlybird type thing. It's like, what the heck is this? And I just thought it was because I was making it bigger, so I tried again when they were like the actual normal size, and once again they just like twirled up in the air. It was so strange, so I had to leave them in the natural position and state. So yeah, I can't rotate them. That was just so weird. It was like, what? Where did it go? And I was so scared that I actually had one in the air. That would be weird, but I don't. There's no cats and dogs ball in the air. That didn't happen. So this is the Shy Coconut thing. Such a weird name. And the appearance for the stools kind of look like something out of Alice in Wonderland, because I use some pictures from the gallery, because I just felt this place needed pictures that suited more directly to what I was doing, and the pictures that we had in the game didn't really do that. So I went on the gallery, found some pictures. I will link the people who have done these pictures in the description box below. And so this store area has a very Alice in Wonderland feel to it, with the pictures from like the cards, which are like diamonds. What else is there? The hearts you can see here kind of look like Alice in Wonderlandy, so I kind of made it like an Alice in Wonderland look to this. But this is where I'm gonna leave you. I also put a fortune teller in there as well, just to the side before you go to the loo. So there we go. So I'm gonna leave you guys here. Please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next one. So thank you and goodbye.